It's EMEA's only hope versus the team that none of the first seeds wanted to pick. This is a true heavyweight head-to-head.
And with so many teams from Pacific fighting for that trophy, Gen.G are looking for their second one. Now that they've made it out of the groups, they go up against the very best of EMEA.
Well, the only team of EMEA.
Yeah. Everyone else had a pretty disappointing showing from EMEA here. OMEN map select is up, and I think Gen.G had kind of a tough question. Do you want to play on Split, or do you want to play on Icebox?
Literally.
Both those maps are incredible for Fnatic, and they chose to leave the Split in, banning away Icebox.
Yeah, if you are not a Fnatic fan and you're not aware of this is something that we see in EMEA constantly. Banning Pearl, picking the Split. This tell is something that Gen.G is also going to have. If they decide not to go for the Icebox, they know that the Split is almost going to be a guarantee.
I also love the sides as well. If you guys didn't see that, Gen.G picked Haven and Fnatic chose to start on defense. And Fnatic picked Split, and Gen.G chose to start on attack. There's so many layers of mind games going in already, but you gotta feel, you know, a bit of copium for EMEA, because Fnatic getting Split and Haven as maps 1 and 2, you can't be sad about that.
I don't think it's Kopsu. I think those are just two of their best maps in this pool, and if Gen.G is going to beat them, doing it on those maps would be a real testament to how good this team is.
Yeah, if we think about the way that Fnatic have been interpreting this meta, yes, they played some Teco, but not a lot of it. It's not going to be as taxing as for most of the teams that we had in the tournament that were swapped into a complete Teco meta. But if you think about Fnatic and the Haven, you think about that Yoru, that Yet, that double duelist, that has been a characteristic of them, and Gen.G has a read on that.
Yeah, both these first two maps, they're playing comps where Fnatic never had the Teo in the mix. But, in my opinion, out of the Swiss stage, Gen.G was probably the best team at adapting away from the Teo. They played double smokes, they had Texture playing super well on the duelist, even with less initiator support. It was no problem for Gen.G.
And I want to quickly mention Alpha here, because this is the first time we're going to see him play on stage, no longer as a teenager. He's had his 20th birthday last week, and he's going to be able to play duelist for the first two maps if they don't change anything in terms of their comps. And again, if you're not familiar with them, Kukuka, it is not weird to see them not change their comps at all.
Absolutely. We're speaking about a team that likes to play it safe, and also because they've ridden the meta in so many maps. They find the key to what makes a composition very, very strong in any of the maps that we have in the game, and they stick to that. They make it work time and time again. And if it doesn't, they find a very, very quick fix. Now, on the side of Gen.G, do not forget, we're speaking about Fnatic and the Haven and whatnot. Gen.G obliterated MIBR on this map. It wasn't even funny, Mimi.
Yeah, 13-1. MIBR got smoked. And a lot of that came down to Texture on the Neon. The thing I'm watching out for, on defense especially, is how he plays with the off. He's a player who loves taking any space you give him. Walking down C, walking down A, getting forward lines posted with that operator. But because he's Neon, he's still going to have super fast rotates, can switch a rifle with a teammate, and use that stun and that slide to be effective in the retake as well.
And I just wonder how they can deal with the Viper Omen. Fnatic, this is the combo of Viper Omen. You don't see that in EMEA, so they wouldn't have had a lot of practice on it, and they're not going to change anything.
Oh, pretends to be shocked, meme.
Yeah, no surprises.
What are we going to say? No surprises. No, absolutely. But we need to look at Alpha here as well. He is a great Sentinel, but even a better duelist. It's just in himself. It's just in his genes. He cannot help but being a difference maker in this map, Mimi.
I want to see Fnatic playing forward on their sights, not playing into retake quite as often, fighting up. But that's exactly what Double Duelist is great at. The pitfall of playing against Viper is falling back into these post plants, trying to flood through that orb. It's a recipe for disaster. But when you have Kayak and Alpha as the point men to fight into your opponent's space, I think that's a really good matchup for Fnatic.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to get into this game, and I bet you our casters will be very excited as well. One of them, you know him, he's been almost flawless in his predictions. We've definitely heard about it quite a few times. And the other guy who's standing next to him in just a moment is probably going to be sick of hearing how flawless his predictions has been. Of course, I'm talking about Achilles and Paperton.
He has been sick of it. He's very glad to see me finally falter in the pred. but here we go. We have a grand finals caliber matchup here in theory between Gen.G and Fnatic. As we get ready to go into this one, they've only faced that one time prior back at Masters Shanghai where Gen.G was able to get the better of them.
Exactly. It's crazy how similar the storyline is between these two teams. Both teams have won a Masters. Both teams are coming in with 3 players of the core of those Masters still on the rosters, but they're swapping in a couple new players and looking to get another Masters trophy.
The barrier's dropping. Toronto, are you ready to kick off this series?
Just a slow creep up B here for Gen.G. Not really trying to make much noise. Alfier in the back.
Shock Dart forward, try to clear any util. Dart over the top, not gonna get a spot there on the ISO as the plant gets ready to come through. Reveal goes down, trying to cross there with the Sheriff. It's gonna be Alfier who ends up taking an immense amount of damage. Crashes, however, on the peak. In towards the A link. Finds Foxy 9, both are dragging. Finding.
Down
Current will fall. Ash able to get one. A little bit whiffy though on the follow-up. As Alfier cleans up the kill. Spike in hand, Texture sliding back. Needs to be able to try to escape here. There's the peak. Shield, however, gets the 2 taps. And leaves Kayak now all alone. Try to clutch this out.
That early maneuver by Texture to slip the net in towards A link. Crucial here for Gen.G. Some patience being shown by Munchkin, the IGL as well.
Staying tucked here inside of window. Kayak with no util to speak of, and Munchkin will just find the timing on the swing. Gen.G striking first. They find the opening pistol on their map pick of Haven.
The Texture not letting go of what he was doing during the Swiss group stage. He was absolutely fearsome. And a 3K to start the pistol. He drops down from heaven and then just waits it out. Outguesses Fnatic there. And this is a comp that Gen.G is experienced against. They played T1 in kickoff. They beat them on this map 13-5. So they understand this double duelist, this Yoru ISO comp and how it wants to function.
And the desk was talking about it, how this is something that Fnatic's not going to be the most familiar with.
Correct.
We'll see. That does continue. It's a bit of damage out onto Crashies to start. Kayak taking some forward space in mid. We'll just end up gate crashing away as Crashies has to further evacuate this space at A long. Munchkin is just fearlessly storming forward.
Alfier with a Sheriff, though. Gonna come over, try to help out his Sova.
Does he sense that he's already this far forward into the site, missing each other now? Spotting it, Alfier does manage to find the headshot. Decent read, though, from Foxy 9. Catches the tucked-in Sova.
I'm out of here.
Cleans up the kill to bring it into a 4v4. Nano into the corner. Alfier needing the backpedal. Will be able to avoid that paranoia. It's even more damage to the smoke, and eventually Texture is able to find him. Flushing him into the open. Still a Sheriff in hand here for Foxy 9. Can afford to lose another player, can Gen.G. We'll see what the game plan is going to be for Fnatic as they slowly creep forward. The 80 is in. Oh my god, the second shot is absolutely disgusting. Karen will find the 2 as Gen.G get the anti-eco.
Yep, and this is kind of a lot of what Gen.G wants to do on the map. Let Munchkin roam around a bit, try to find that open space, try to find the weaknesses in the opponent's defense and make calls off the back of that. So even though he loses the fight, he knows there's only the ISO still on A. Calls the reinforcements over after Foxy gets the kill on the Crashies. And now we go into the rifle round here for Fnatic. The bonus for Gen.G, pretty fearsome. In fact, an outlaw for Munchkin. A couple players going to be one shot to that. Guardians, always scary in the hands of Gen.G players. And just kind of typical Sova stuff here on long A, just checking.
Clearing the recon. Spot out there from Crashies. This time able to slide away without suffering any damage. That's Kayak. Tucked in Cubby. Staring down towards Sewer. Looks like the TP is smoke start coming through. One cycled out onto Heaven.
That's a quick clear of the drone there. And that's going to keep Gen.G from wanting to scale into the site, at least initially. Take a little bit of time here to wait for Foxy. Kind of figure out what's going on over in Garage. Might be able to relay some information that things are relatively quiet. I've got a tripwire in front of me. That's going to be the plan here. Just wait a little bit, and then they can clear that trip and spring their trap.
All quiet on the seaside front, and Gen.G, they do like to pump fake, so Fnatic not really sending any rotations quite just yet, so everyone going to get in position here at Garage as well as Long. Clear the trip, get ready to go. Smoke's now coming through. Tells Fnatic everything they need to know. Bit of a gap here on that smoke, and Texture will get caught off guard by it as Chronicle will find the opening kill here in the anti-bonus. Turret set up, and Texture being on the floor, always going to be positive here on the opposite side of the lobby.
Coming back.
Still got some firepower. A little bit of time, but Fnatic going to be coming from a lot of different angles.
Camera's still situated. Go for the toggle, try to get a dart out, does so. Still not being cleared, but does actually get the spot on a Foxy9, so they know that he's going to be playing forward in towards the smoke. Now look at this spam around quite just yet. Foxy able to drag across one, cannot find the other. Ash, Karan now. The two, the three, quickly be felled. And that's going to be 3 players surviving as Fnatic deny the bonus conversion.
Boaster just sending a little love over to the other side of the stage, but this is really good stuff from Fnatic. Good patience, good retake, not really giving much up. I mean, I think here for Gen.G, I don't suspect that smoke was intended to leave that extra little gap. A little bit of a mistake from Karan, but all's well that ends well. Fnatic, just a nice flood there.
I can't fist bump you.
You know, it's going to be pretty typical. Let the ISO go first,
So
pops the double tap,
I can't
throw some
high five.
flashes,
I can go like this.
use the Sova util, and then just flood on in there.
Explanation of not being able to fist bump. Seems like high fives though, still on the cards. As Alarm Bot going to be situated here in window. Gen.G wanting to keep tabs on these forward pushes from Kayak.
I think they're aware. They're trying to spam it down.
Bosa finding Munchkin. Just pushes forward, and Sewer does catch the enemy IGL. Critical target to be found. Viper out of play. Pretty much makes that A side unassailable because they don't have the wall to try to scale off of. Slow creep up with Texture around the corner. Gun barrel might have been spotted, but out here. Able to find Karan. So counter swing is there. Texture trades it back, but still going to be a player disadvantage here for Gen.G as they get ready to have the spike planted. There's Fury going to be online. Question is, can Ash get into a disconnected position to try to actually utilize this? You already have Foxy9 watching Long. Seems like Ash is going to have to stay put.
No smokes either.
Slow creep in, Texture. Swing around the back, able to find one. Recon at the ready, and it's going to be the triple approach here from Garage. Being able to note 2. Couple shots in. Spot out here in the Chronicle, but not too much damage taken. Regen armor refills. Paranoia going to be dodged. Ash pushed out. Fights for one. Swing. Texture cannot stabilize it. Boaster gets the better of it now. It's down to Foxy9. Tap on the defuse. Some spray to come through. And Chronicle to defend. Fnatic.
My ultimate is ready.
They tied things up 2-2 very quickly.
Yeah, a little bit of shakiness here from Gen.G in some of their individual plays. Munchkin losing against Boaster. That's going to be an actually really crucial battle across this map, is keeping track of Munchkin's position. And it's a setup from Crashies with the recon dart. Very nicely done, and winning against Texture. No easy feat, as we have seen throughout this tournament. And that's huge for Fnatic.
Let's go, boys.
Boaster's really starting to pick it up in the fragging department. That was a great round for him. Just some big individual plays, and now Alfier has the ISO ult. And that is very scary. He is, of course, one of the best riflers out there. Texture making a little bit of noise.
As the Phantom to try to lead the charge. Alfier at the ready here. Send that undercut. Chips it through. Will get zoned back, so can't try to play off of it with any spam. Gen.G quickly evacuate the area, slide back through window. But now you've got Kayak slid forward here. Ult going to be coming through. Kidnaps one away. In the meantime, this Yor is striking. Kayak going to be good for 2 much. He's going to be taken down inside of the ultimate. Crashies on the peak from Sewer. Cleans up the other. Now it all just comes down to counter position noted. Fights back for 1. Worry about the flank coming down through A long. Has it from the shadows, but 1v3. Do you try to commit for that?
It'd be a big gamble. Sights are open on the other side of the map, but Chronicle's waiting.
Just holding the line. Karan drifting ever closer to it. Gun barrel going to be spotted. And Chronicles lurk. Pays dividends. That's going to be Fnatic now, taking the lead 3-2. I think we're starting to see why they elected to go to that defending side first.
Yeah, this is a phenomenal setup here in terms of using the ISO utility. First, you use the vulnerable to back them off of B, and then you use the ult to help keep Kayak's position hidden. That is a really smart setup from Fnatic, and Gen.G completely bamboozled by it.
That's what I like to see on the stage, baby.
Nice, boy.
Absolutely.
Good,
Well,
clean
we've seen
fight.
how
Kayak.
important,
That's what I like to see on the stage, baby.
get to hear it twice, how important these emotional leaders can be and have been for the teams thus far here at the tournament. He's going to be left wide open, though. His fast line going to be set, but Fnatic quick to try to rotate over and get into position.
Camera's still there. Hasn't been identified for Gen.G.
Wire there on the floor, does get cleared, and Kayak, again, coming away with the goods, but Munchkin's going to be dead. Crashes sends out the Hunter's Fury. He's looking for the double pump, and he will have it. Foxy9 taken down as well. As Texture falls, Caron spraying and praying, trying to get the enemy Yoru's full blast out, and the wide swing is not going to bear fruit this time. 4 rounds in a row, Fnatic starting to run away with this defending half.
Yeah, the util combinations are really, really strong for Fnatic right now. The Hunter's Fury there, brilliant. Right as the plant is being attempted, I mean, you could see in some of the hesitation from Gen.G, they knew something was coming their way, and they couldn't dodge it all the same. Another big win out on the flanks against Munchkin. He is generally very, very difficult to deal with. He's very tricky, very wily in his movement, and his aim is incredible, but so far Fnatic has done a great job handling him.
Kayak, what is the second shot? Instantaneous with the readjustment, and that leaves Texture Caron dead on the floor. And any hope of pulling off a thrifty here has very quickly been shut down.
I mean, we've seen it in the EMEA, how electric Kayak is. That right there, just a microcosm of what he's capable of. Just phenomenal.
And Munchkin's been given some space to try to push up, but again, with a Stinger at range, Crashy's on the jump peak. Able to find value here. Highly unlikely.
That's going to be really tough. Even thinking a 3v5. Much hope here for Gen.G.
Spotted there. Munchkin does manage to push forward, finding one. Snakebite not getting the connection here, and Crashy's does. And shot flies through. Spike blissfully unable to be planted here for the moment. Ash able to find a little bit more impact. Alvier with the shield will go ahead and lead the charge. Continuing to shove them back. 5-2 now. It's Gen.G. We're going to have to be contemplating a potential timeout.
Yeah, I really think you ought to take one, at least just to give the players a little bit of a breather here. Kind of cool Fnatic's Jets. And the way they're stringing this util together on these retakes is so, so good. So many times we're seeing Gen.G players have to shoot the clone because there's a flood of players coming through an angle, and they're trying to lock it down with just one. There's going to be a lot of ults here. Still the dimensional drift for Kayak, but on Gen.G's side, 3 really important ones. You never know when Karon's out might come into play. Texture has been sitting on his overdrive for quite a while.
Quick TP, and Ken Munchkin getting the read on this push out. Able to find Kayak. Lobs in the poison orb as Shock Dart try to clear out some of this util. Still a trip set up, and here in the front, but Alpha's going to be pre-fired. Foxy9 has come away with that elimination. Jump up over the top here, Plat, both through the upper, is trying to get something going. Dexter does manage to deny him. Smoke dissipating at Garage. And it's just a firing squad waiting on the opposite side. A flawless round as Munchkin steps up to the plate, gets himself a 3K. It's Gen.G. Break the win streak, close the gap. Now just 2 rounds.
Yeah, a much needed round here for Munchkin and Gen.G. Able to just outguess his opponents. Just kind of understanding their tendencies where they've got a big lead, so they might try to get aggressive on the flanks. And he's just going to hold the angle. Quick spam early. Boaster with the operator. Couldn't find any value from the back of Plat. That's a huge pickup for Gen.G. Didn't have to expend many ults. Just Karon's was used there.
Quick feet, quick trigger. Gotta
Maybe
go.
didn't even need to be used, but now you've got a neural theft for Chronicle. Kayak still with the dimensional drift.
Relay to try to persuade. Double stack setup. Looks like he's spotting a boat. Slides in. The stun is there. Texture has hold up the Crashy. Over in main. Gonna be caught with util in hand as Texture scoops up his 3K. But Crashies, the damage dealt there on the intercept is absolutely monstrous.
Kayak's so fast here on this rotation. Is Gen.G going to be ready for it?
In all likelihood, no, but Texture is staring over towards the angle. Eyes on it from the hell position. As now they have it confirmed. Swing out, Ash finds a headshot. Dimensional Drift has come through, but Kayak is now left to his own devices. Cuts back just around the box. Trying to set up here on the pop flash.
Decoy.
Sends the fake, finds the first. Isolated now. Fastlane going to be set, trying to fish him out. Tiny bits of damage dealt, 8 bullets remaining in the bag. Gets the spot out. Texture just trying to play with time. Eats a ton of damage. And he will sprint away down into the cubby. Needing to have the defuse, but Texture will be there. And Mr. 4K shows up in round number 9. As Gen.G nearly have the rug swept from beneath them, but they're able to find their footing.
What a bonkers round. It looked like this had Gen.G written all over it, and then Crashies catches 3 players right on the timing there. They're looking to clear util. And then Texture had enough, and he played that brilliantly at the end, using that neon movement to buy the extra time he needed to make sure that that defuse had to be stuck. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see out of these two teams.
Kayak's done it again!
Down mid.
Cutting through.
You can't flush him out of this spot. He's just too clean at it.
Gonna have to throw some util his way.
Toxins going up.
Can't just outduel him there. Oh my.
What's that mid to box aim labs session that he's got set up? Unbelievable. Just like that, might have taken away any momentum. The Gen.G were starting to build up.
Blinding.
Those who sense the paranoia. Quick tuck in. Crashes to reposition. Continue going for the peaks, and that smoke, he's able to still get a glimpse of them both. Oxy able to still go ahead and further confirm the presence of that Omen up over top of the box.
No aggressive maneuvers from the rest of Fnatic. Both Alpha and Kayak still sitting. The press forward by Gen.G.
Trying to get the pre-fire there is Munchkin, but Crashes goes unpunished. Foxy not in the push, however, is able to find one, but Chronicle quickly
30
does
seconds
shut
left.
it down. You've got the 4 players from Fnatic, so basically here on site and standing tall. Karen forced to run away with just 20 seconds remaining. Not much of a go to be made here. We'll just stay tucked and try to see if he can pick off anybody, keep his life intact, but otherwise Fnatic maintaining the lead, getting themselves to 6 here on this defending side. Back on the hunt, couple seconds still to spare. As the clone goes through, Karen well aware of his position, but is very quickly going to get overwhelmed. Fights back for one. So there's the swing, gets the other, but Crashies eventually will be able to collect.
That's huge. A little bit of economic damage done there by Fnatic. Could come to haunt Gen.G. Still a lot of money sitting behind Texture.
My eyes.
Disgusting.
Absolutely ridiculous, Kayak. If you're going to challenge that angle, you're going to have to come up with some other answers for it for Gen.G. Because he just is too darn good, and timeout actually going to be popped by Gen.G. Talk about what's going on. I mean, a lot of it's just, I think, a little bit of overconfidence from Gen.G, trying to take some of these early fights that they were winning handily throughout the Swiss stage. You know, they were so dominant in so many different aspects of the game that now you need to kind of tighten up the screws a little bit. Let's get back to some basics. Let's start making sure that we're using some util, being a little bit cleaner with our spotting before we go for these maneuvers, because challenging some of these Fnatic players has often resulted in losses for Gen.G.
I mean, to put the run through Swiss into perspective a bit, they've already lost a 1/5 of the rounds that they've lost across the 2 series to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Only dropping 20 round losses in those sets versus MIBR, versus HyperX. They were looking red hot. Fnatic, though, cooled them off a bit so far. So timeout call has to be used because Gen.G know how important getting the remainder of these rounds on the attacking half is going to be, and they know that they are facing into 4 ultimates in the hands of Fnatic.
Absolutely. You want to talk about how to maneuver yourselves around that Hunter's Fury, around the ISO ult in particular. You know, have plans. You know, you'd love to get Texture into that ISO ult. That's obviously kind of one of your main goals. Alpha playing so far forward there. They're going to challenge this angle again.
Here comes Kayak. There to try to back him up, and they're just lining up. Picking targets, finding value. Karen does manage to trade one, so the ISO ult not going to be a concern here in the round, but can save that to the final of the half.
I'm out of here.
It's fast lane sent. Texture at the ready. Slides forward, catches a spot on it. Chronicle, and eats a ton of damage. Dink right through the corner as they try to flush him out of this position. Chronicle not quite going to be able to fight back for any more than that.
Can't even get the plant down, though. So much util being thrown their way. And there's a wide wrap from Crashies.
Seems like they want to try to fight their way out of this position, but now Gun Barrel has been spotted, and Foxy9 tripping right into the crosshair.
Spike down.
It's Kayak just tears them limb from limb, round after round. Karen now with everything to do to try to make this timeout find some value, but Crashies on this reposition. Seems like it is loosely read, but no. Peeks into the link, meets his demise. Fnatic guarantee a lead at the half as they hit 7.
Last round in the half.
And even more devastating here for Gen.G. Their economy was shattered. They are only going to be able to buy a couple rifles coming into this. Do not have a ton of cash in the bank there. And Fnatic has done a phenomenal job here to start, and they're coming in with all ultimates to bear. Everything you could ever want here for Fnatic. And Gen.G is a real uphill battle coming into this round. They have a couple of their own, but they got to get there. They got to get to the plants. They can't keep challenging this mid position.
Deck is certainly stacked against him, and already Foxy9 eating damage on entry. Kayak once again feeling good about this position, and he is finding value once more. Ash clipped to the side of the head, 7 health here on the Sova. Boaster gonna go for a quick peek. Checks in over towards Sewer. He's managed to catch a glimpse. Time a bit of a fake entry, fast lane thrown over the top. Up here, able to tuck back, clear of the tripwire. But no closer to getting on plant here are Gen.G.
Oh boy.
Alpha Kayak now stacked up into the garage. The swing is about to come through. Gun Barrel's going to be spotted into the dimensional drift. Goes Kayak, he's able to escape. Houdini himself does end up costing Alfia's life as the Hunter's Fury's now coming through, just trying to guide them here towards success. Tucks in the cubby over at Long. Karen going to be taken down as Crashies is able to find that kill. Kayak looks to try to get the jump here on the Munchkin. Will be able to do so. The headshot, instantaneous. Chronicle here in backside. They have no idea.
Spike down, C.
It's Foxy9, the lockdown committed. The gate crash at the ready. Fake into the smoke. It reads it well that it's not for real. And now it's going to be pinged down and taken down. 8-4, Fnatic. Looking like the savior of the first seeds thus far here on Haven.
It's a masterclass in mechanics and a masterclass in util usage.
Gen.G's map pick. Gonna need to do some heavy lifting as they swap over to the defending side, but for now, Fnatic look electric. We'll see you guys on the other side of halftime.
Do it again. Watch me win. Then watch me do it again.
waiting for at the half. Fnatic looking fantastic on Gen.G's map pick of Haven, clearly doing their homework. More importantly, looking to avoid the fate that has been suffered by every other first seed team.
No, this was just a tremendous half. As we take a look at the Coinbase Econ report, you can see their Kayak was absolutely farming, Crashies as well at 90. This is phenomenal stuff. The individual skill displayed there, in particular with their rifling, those Vandals were screaming. And Gen.G just had no response, it felt like. I mean, a couple rounds there, yeah, Texture gets his, but outside of that, this was a dominant half from Fnatic. And if they could take this pistol here, looks like they may be able to sweep Gen.G's map pick away from them.
They're going to feel very good going into split because it's a map that we have not seen that much from Gen.G. Let's see what happens, though, as we get ready to dive back into the action. Kayak and Crashies very much leading the charge. 16 and 15 with just 7 deaths on each.
So, huge push out for Gen.G. 4 players strong. They are just going to slow walk it down.
Boaster alone watching on this side. Does get the headshot on the Munchkin, but it's going to be Munchkin getting the kill. Survives with 22, as that's going to lead everybody else pretty much sprinting forward into this A site. Alarm in the Nano. To be baited out. Fnatic seemingly reading the setup here from Foxy9. So now we'll go ahead and cut sound. Given the tendencies of Gen.G, Fnatic can pretty easily rely on the assumption that they've gotten the rotate out.
Yeah, no. This is very good stuff from Fnatic. This is how they like to play a lot of their rounds, not just pistols, but in general. They're looking to bait some utility out of you. They're looking to get a little bit more info, and they got that. They got that KJ util out of the way. They're going to try to make their way B.
Wall isn't raised. Swing peek coming through. Ash able to find one instantly as Kayak can take it down. And Texture finds Alphier. Paranoia since Crashy's reeling back. Wrapping around in towards Garage. Slow walk up from Chronicle. Just trying to see that they haven't skipped any beats here. Crashy's going to be caught, however, as there's the spot out to the final player with the spike now on the floor. Chronicle certainly has his work cut out for him as all of Gen.G get clustered together. A couple taps in, the wide swing out, Chronicle, good for one. Can't find the rest. Gen.G will take another pistol win.
It's crazy to think how important that pistol round win is for Gen.G after winning their first, but this one, a nice call by Munchkin. This is just really good understanding of their opponent's tendencies. And you'll see this all the time in EMEA with Fnatic, where it's push and pull. It's find a little bit of util advantage one side of the map, go back to the other side, see what's going on there. Gen.G's Munchkin reading that a lot of the way. They even get the first kill on the Boaster there, sending that 4-player push out.
Speaking of Boaster, might be looking to get a little bit cheeky here. As Shock Dart does find an immense amount of value. 3 players going to be tagged up. A little bit answered back onto Ash, who's going to pivot around. Quick check towards Sewers, but has some reinforcements coming through.
Deploying drone.
Since the drone has to go for the quick cancel. Munchkin able to find 2 as the bite connects, and Crashies does end up falling. And once again, it's going to be Chronicle. And this time, unable to find the kill on the Texture. It'll be a flawless as Gen.G. Once again, we're able to find the anti-eco, but this is where the wheels came off in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looks very good for Gen.G in terms of some crisp shooting, some good decision-making, in terms of Ash not overcommitting here, and then using his util nicely. Munchkin, very on point as always. The Viper, Texture, good for the last 2 with the Guardian. So, okay. Not the end of the world at all for Fnatic, but it's the start Gen.G needed for this half. Now we go into their bonus. Couple Bulldogs, couple Guardians, and a Stinger for Munchkin. And they're just going to play it a little bit slow off the rip, are Fnatic, but Karan so far forward.
Karan is upping the pace. Boaster, if he just comes backpedaling out of this smoke, almost certainly is going to be dead to rights. Karan, though, wants to swing and get a little bit more information. Still, he's going to be rewarded with the kill. Attempted the ADS. Boaster does manage to come out on top. Karan eliminated, but that's one of the dual-pronged tips of the spear. It does get taken down, but Texture similarly causing the fall. Timing does come across. Munchkin able to go ahead and collect that elimination. Scoops up the weapon. We backpedal through the wall to safety here on the B site. Keeps it down to a 3v3.
Great read by Munchkin, understanding that more often than not, Chronicle's going to be on his own, and on a bonus, it's well worth the risk to go for that gun. Very nice play. Helps even up the weaponry advantage. Foxy9 potentially going to be tasked doing a lot here, but a little bit of a misguess by Fnatic on where the KJ util would be. That's bought them a little bit of extra time and even got the drone committed by
Doesn't
Fnatic.
catch Foxy on this angle. Alpha then gets caught off guard.
30 seconds left.
So there's going to be more pressure coming out of the garage. Munchkin swooping in from behind. Paranoia going to be avoided with the dart. He's able to find that ping, but it doesn't matter. It seems as Munchkin in the perfect place at the perfect time, and Gen.G this time get the bonus conversion.
The game sense on Munchkin is incredible. He had a little bit to say there to Fnatic at the end of it, but Karan, at least good for the one and done. But that play right there by Munchkin changes this round. And he's able to find that flank angle as well. Foxy9, just great positioning there. Getting his kill, using his turret to back off into safety to make sure he doesn't give himself up for free, to set up his IGL to swoop in from behind. And now it is going to be Fnatic's turn to take a timeout, talk about how exactly they want to approach this attacker side from now on, because it looks like Gen.G's got a phenomenal read.
Coming alive, and I mean, we knew coming into this that this was going to end up being a battle of the brains between Munchkin and Boaster, trying to get the read, trying to get the download on each other's tendencies.
Absolutely.
Seems like so far, reads favoring the defending IGLs.
Yeah, I thought maybe Fnatic would have some good util combos like we saw on that defender side, that you could kind of go in lockstep with the ISO and the Yoru to really break open some sites, get some picks. So far, Gen.G's had all the answers. They've been matching Fnatic's movements really nicely. Having kind of that extra player in the right place at the right time. That kill in a Chronicle, for example, so far has been very impactful. It's going to be a Guardian for Ashe. Everybody else has rifles. Some stingers.
Yeah, some reconsiderations here from Fnatic.
Okay, they're investing a bit into this round.
A bit more oomph behind it.
Scanning ahead.
Poster again with this early TP into a smoke, looking to see if anybody's going to try to take advantage of that long A angle twice, but deep recon dart doesn't catch anybody from Fnatic, but let's see if they want to try to take a little bit of space off the back of that. There's going to be a smoke put down by Karan, pinged out by Fnatic, a little bit wary. Maybe somebody's trying to, tuck behind these smokes. That's something Munchkin would 100% do, especially with his toxic screen available as a potential escape tool. So got to be very diligent, like what I'm seeing from Boaster and Fnatic. Really good awareness of some of Gen.G's tendencies.
I have the spike.
Less than a minute remaining. A couple players about to cut their way out through window here. There's a kayak. Eating the dart. Gate crash now going to be sent forward as Alfier sent on solo exploration up towards this B site. Wall going to be raised once again, but Texture clearly anticipating this pressure. Backs off, has Munchkin on the flank there at the A connector, but see the ping coming down. Fnatic are reading this well.
30 seconds left.
Smoke to be cycled. Bam, opened up to try to find anything, but nothing widely found. Texture has to back away. To think that maybe it's going to be a reposition, but Munchkin does still manage to find Boaster. Outdoing him here, and now that pivot is going to be coming through. Just 13 seconds remaining here on the clock. Foxy9 still going to be situated on the side. Texture here inside of the window, and Foxy9 looking to try to cut them down to size. Finds another to swing out. Chronicle able to find it, but the round is already over. The time is gone, and Munchkin will grind them into a fine pulp as Gen.G continue now tying things at 8-8.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the layers in this round for Gen.G. Getting a good read here that this was going to be B. Texture playing this really nicely, being very cautious, giving anything up for free. Using that smoke from Karan to set up the spam angle for him and Munchkin. And then the quick pivot over through Garage when time is so limited. They know that even if they get identified by the Sova util or the Cypher util, they can just keep challenging them, just keep delaying them, and that's all that matters. Now Texture has the op. Desk was highlighting it, how important that has been, and how impactful Texture has individually been with this weapon.
Jiggle peeking out from Kayak, not going to be spotting anything. Texture, though, in deep, and there's going to be multiple players on the opposite side of this one. Still just a beat in. Oh. Kayak has the shot. What an opener. Puts Neon down on the floor. Gen.G now.
Ahead.
He's scrambling a bit. Recon around the back does get multi-person ping out. Drone chasing forward, getting the spot there onto Ash. Forces him to reposition back. To undercut Paranoia, both going to be sent. Ash wing to try to regain his util, turns from the flash. Some shots coming through, the wall going to be raised. And Boaster out from Stewart, able to find that kill. Now the neural attempt is going to be lobbed in as well. The reveal is there, Munchkin. Nothing more to be done but die. He gets taken down. It's on Foxy9 and Karon to try to see if they can turn the tides of this somehow in a 2v5. But Fnatic are absolutely entrenched. It seems like there is no displacing and no chance, no willingness to try to go for this. Fnatic in flawless fashion, barring a hunt and a kill, look to go ahead and regain the lead by 1.
Yeah, and Fnatic finding success off the back of another just unbelievable opener from Kayak. He is so sharp. Unbelievable find for this Fnatic team. And they just had a good read on where Texture might be. And they just caught him off guard. And that's not easy to do. Very, very nicely handled by Fnatic. And I mean, it just feels like in this matchup that first kill is so important because the fundamentals on both of these teams are so good that they're not going to make any more mistakes after that. You can see there with Fnatic, it was the util to follow up there. Once they got revealed by the recon drone, it's a drone of their, or the recon dart, a drone of their own. And it is going to be, I think, a reinvestment into the operator here.
Yeah, enough cash to be able to afford it, so Texture just managed to get another. Go for a retake, the overdrive is still going to be there. Gen.G a bit ahead when it comes down to this ult cycle, given that they have 2 at the ready. Still a ways to go for some of the more critical ones here for Fnatic.
I'm going to put him at C this time.
Revealing area.
It's going to be Chronicles territory. Seems like they miss each other a bit, and the cam just ends up having to be cleared.
Let's see if Karan's got the read on Boaster's positioning in these smokes. He's been doing this almost every round.
Turns from the flash, and this time they're not quite prepared for it. Boaster does manage to get a bit of damage in. Trying to flush him out. Karan needing to fight his way out. The bad situation is unable to do so as the pit is going to be invested from Munchkin. Blocking off this long position. Double tap shield expiring. Alpha trying to chase forward, trying to find that. As Chronicle needed the entry into Garage, but Foxy9's got the close angle held. That gives the player advantage here to the side of Gen.G.
This is such a tough choice for Fnatic. No idea where the operator is.
Ash holding close. Check over the top of Boaster. Being spotted, spammed down through the box.
Revealing area.
Recon through the opposite side of the wall. No, doesn't go deep enough to actually get the pings here. It's their own recon ping. Next on the Ash to the wall. Helps keep it protected, and Munchkin's got the crossfire. Just peeking out of the pit. 9-9. We remain tied up here between these two teams.
You can see that Fnatic had an idea that maybe somebody was pushed up at long A again. Kayak just not quite ready for it. Boaster able to finish the job, but Chronicle gets caught trying to lurk again. Gen.G so unbelievably patient sometimes. Foxy9, one of those guys you think about, you know, aggressive play, good mechanics, but with his new role on Gen.G, he has really shown tremendous ability to just wait things out and make the right plays at the right time on the other sides of the map. That was one of those moments for sure. A little bit of a different look here for Fnatic, trying to contest some of this long A space, so a deeper smoke to give themselves a little bit of map control on that part. And they are just really curious if and when Gen.G is going to start to get aggressive. Drone to set up Texture.
This is the flick. Falls down to 10. He's able to slide out to safety. Smooth criminal there from him, but makes it that much riskier for him to try to get back onto a line. Munchkin, at the same time, swinging around here at the B side. Smoke going to be cycled over from Karon. Spam through the door, gets the nano out. Alarm bot still set up. Spot on the 1, and Alpha's going to be taken down. Over at C long, Karon clearly catching a glimpse, is able to spam him out in the end.
You know there's 2 on C. You've seen Foxy and Karan. This is what you're going to try to challenge.
30 seconds
Waiting
left.
for the moment. There's a great crash forward onto the side. Karan going to be blinded out. Foxy, however, top of Lumber, finding one. Spotting at the gun barrels, but cannot find the kills. Karan gets flushed out, but Munchkin again arriving, looking to be the hero! And it's going to be another multi-kill round from the captain of Gen.G. They take the lead 10-9.
And Munchkin, just complete confidence to swing into the site here.
He's top fragging the lobby.
Yeah, no. He's just reading these situations so well. Knows he's got to bail out Foxy. Oh, the transfer on that second one onto Boaster. A little bit of patience there to readjust on the Chronicle. And that is huge for Gen.G. You're going to keep the operator. You're going to have a couple ults, but more importantly, it's going to be an eco for Fnatic.
Eco attempt to try to come through. That ult cycle about to hit critical mass, though, for Fnatic. That next buy round on the horizon. Should be very well poised to try to still hang in here. You're going to have that kill contract, the dimensional drift, at the ready.
Turret's in a bit of a different spot there for Foxy. Thought about trying to play aggressive off of it, but Owl Drone can back him off a bit. And they're just trying to confuse him a bit.
Oh. No, a little pre-fire does get some damage through. Kill still a ways away.
Fnatic
throwing some smokes at the ready. I mean, you have this full cluster up from Fnatic. It's just a matter of when do they pull the trigger on the attack.
Yeah, just trying to test the patience of Gen.G here a bit.
Fight to the one side. Try to slow the approach. Undercut gets used. Munchkin watching. Charon clearly wary about this position. He's across. It's the readjust to find the headshot on the kayak. Looking to try to push their way forward here on the side. Munchkin once again is looking to cut them down. Gets himself another 3K. And Gen.G managed to shrug off the attempts of the Thrifty. Now one away from map point.
Man, Munchkin, he is on a mission here on this second half. Just unbelievable what he's accomplishing on this Viper. And his timings with his smokes are so good. The snake bites to just get that little bit of extra delay when he understands that Fnatic has to make a move. And that allows some extra players to shift into positions to make sure that the garage window angle is covered.
11-9 the score as we get ready to see if Gen.G get themselves up to map point. 4 ultimates to utilize here for Fnatic as they go into this bye.
Such an important round. The economy as well on a precipice for Fnatic. They've got to get this one to go. Alpha, all the odds.
Spots it out, still considering pushing forward, but is alone on that side of the map. In the meantime, Kayaks heads up with the dimensional drift, getting the spot here onto Ash. He's gonna have to go for the exit. Front side of the box, does manage to get out to safety. This Hunter's Fury gonna be set up here from the side of Crashing. Kayak able to strike for 1, strike for 2. Foxy 9, Ash both gonna be taken down. Some damage across as Texture gets himself situated here in heaven. Trying to see what he gets spot out as the cam gets cleared. But for now, 5v3. Texture getting tagged here by the drone. Have to back away. Munchkin ends up getting dropped, and it's just Texture and Charon. Try to see if they can somehow turn this on its head.
Look at Chronicle's angle, right below Texture.
Ready,
beautiful,
and waiting. Charon now, no other choice. Try to back away. I mean, some damage dealt here would make it costly as the economy from Fnatic hasn't been the strongest. We're talking about how important this round is. Ults committed, not too many. They still have 2 to go. They're able to go ahead and stabilize the economy in economically flawless fashion. What I mean to say is there we go. 1 round now separating the 2 teams.
Yeah, that's huge. The fact that you're able to keep that ISO ult for this follow-up round is going to be really impactful. I'm even seeing Gen.G consider not going with the opposite what Texture wants to stick with, but just a great dimensional drift. Ash on an island could never really stabilize the aim. So a little bit cold coming out of that tech timeout.
That's going to be a good round to witness as a Fnatic fan. Texture being on an aggro line, full flash connecting, damage as well, going to be dealt. Just managed to escape with his life. Thanks going for an overdrive in the latter parts of this round, a bit more risky.
Yeah, you can see they're punishing his tendency to try to hold long A there with some good util combos. So again, Fnatic finding some new answers for how to deal with this operator. Ash only going to see 1 player there. The Omen, though, leads you to believe that still could be A. Texture's trying to push forward.
Good amount of information that he's going to be gaining, though.
Does have the...
All quiet on this side of the map. Tripwire set up there at window. what he can get done just dancing around it for now. Gate crash going to be destroyed.
Gen.G's got the read.
Hold him at bay, Chronicle. About to peek into this, and Texture finds the shot.
It's you.
The back line now going to be opened up. Is Kayak going to be spotted? Some counter spray coming through. He falls low. Alfier in the meantime, kill contract. He's the grab the count. He's able to win the fight. Munchkin. Foxy9, both going to be taken down. Ash now striking from the cubby. Overdrive pop. The pass lane about to fall. Dancing around him. Boaster finds the shots. And Ash has everything to do. Boaster has the ult. TPs across the map. Doesn't go for the cancel. Doesn't try to play any mind games. Spike gets planted. He's just gonna blind fish for this one. He's hoping to try to find a tag. The Boaster eludes capture. The drop down, the noise made. Boaster tucked into the corner. He has a recon online. Does he think about it? No, but it doesn't matter. Ash, a monstrous 4K, will get Gen.G up to map point here on Haven.
That has to be infuriating for Boaster. I think he read that scenario very well, but Ash just read it better.
Pulling off the Red Bull clutch yet again. Saw it from him in Swiss. It seems like he's still not skipping a beat.
Oh my goodness. What a round there. Fnatic, I thought, might be able to take this, but that early kill by Texture keeps one extra player from the back lines of Fnatic being able to push forward onto A. And Ash was able to hold tight. A lot of damage had already been done to Kayak and Boaster as well. Boaster had a TP out of there. Just waving to him.
Wave to him. Operator still going to be in play. Turn on the flash, the peek, attempt the flick. Texture does not get taken down, but Ash does, but not before finding Kayak. So in the end, a 1-for-1 with Texture down to 14 health. Overall, Fnatic do come out on top of that, given that they still do have Alfier to try to give them a bit of entry power.
Yeah, they've still got some great ideas on how to layer that util. Texture down in sewer.
Getting out wider and wider on this angle. There's the peek, and there's the shot. Shield not at the ready. Likely not going to be anticipating the Texture. Would be so bold to try to go for that pick. Chronicle does manage to find him as the neural theft gets the ping reveal. Telling a story here of this deep flank around the back. As we go into a 3v3, Fnatic looking for 2 rounds consecutive to keep themselves afloat here in the map.
Not a ton of util to work with here. Just a couple smokes from Karan. Nano for Foxy9.
Munchkin finds one. It would give them a pit online as well. TP across the way from Karan. Boaster.
Cover going out.
Up in heaven. The other two playing back at the A connector. The paranoia at the ready time, starting to tick. Knows that they have them cleared off of this spike here for the moment. Looking for the hold, the dart going through. Karan's gonna be taken down, and there you go. Just a firing squad. Crashies collects the final 2. This map not over yet. It's Fnatic 1 away from taking us to overtime.
Man, they just do such a good job understanding that situation. That neural theft, so valuable from Chronicle. Oh, what a shot on the Texture through the box, too. Using that drone. A little bit of extra info. And then they're able to set themselves up on the defender side of the map to defend that post plant. And there's just nothing Gen.G can do. Trying to get a little tricky with some quick rotations around into the attacker's side, but...
This though, big bunch of attempt playing Boaster. He gets left out to dry. Paranoia now allows the Texture to slowly drift back away. They get in, they get a kill, they get out.
And now Gen.G wants to get proactive for that A main control. They're very successful.
Damage on the Kayak as well as Munchkin is looking to try to just tear them apart. Nano, however, does end up getting cleared. Snake bite, a little further delay. Trying to flush out that alarm bot. Does get found.
Chronicle just trying to clear any other util that might be there. Foxy9 still tucked into that corner. Drone doesn't see Texture.
Just jiggling on the angle. There's Kayak. Sends out a couple warning shots. Crashies ready to go here for the lineup. Chronicle slowly backpedaling in mid.
Still enough time for another rotation, so Gen.G has to keep their feet planted.
Flashes over the top. Texture on the reposition.
30 seconds left.
Checks, sees that it's a fake. Finds a headshot there on the Kayak, pushes out. Shield gonna be reset though for Alpha. Khan holds here on the wide angle, spots it, breaks it, kills him off.
Spike down A.
As it's just Crashies and Chronicle now, with not much time to work with. 12 seconds remaining here on the clock.
10 seconds left.
Knows where one's at, should have heard Chronicle arriving here on the side. They need to push forward, they just cannot make it happen. 13-11, Gen.G draw first blood.